Hi, friends, and welcome back to A Quiet Theory. Take a moment to slow down, breathe, and just become present. This is a space for reflection, for stillness, and for hearing what God may be gently placing on your heart today. Take what resonates and leave the rest. And if you've been praying, seeking clarity, and trusting that God answers in His own way, then this message is for you. We start with, find peace in the challenge. And this is so important because it tells me this hasn't been an easy decision. The card literally says that the challenges you face are lessons disguised as difficulties, and that peace doesn't come from avoiding the challenge, but from facing it with an open mind and a courageous heart. So right away, this is not about choosing the easier option. It's about choosing the aligned one. This situation is stretching you, and that stretch is intentional. God is using this moment to refine your discernment, not confuse you. And then we move into perception creates experience, which deepens this message even more. Events are neutral. Meaning is assigned. Your interpretation shapes your emotion. This tells me that part of what you've been praying about is not just the job itself, but how you're seeing your worth within it. There's been a shift happening where you're starting to see more clearly what you deserve, what aligns, what doesn't. And the Holy Spirit is gently asking you to separate facts from the story you've been telling yourself. Are you considering this opportunity because it's truly right, or because it feels safe? Because it looks good on paper? Because you feel like you should? Then we have let life surprise you, and this is where it gets really beautiful. Because this card reminds you that not everything has to follow a rigid or perfect plan. The magic of life unfolds when you release expectations and allow the unexpected to touch you with its beauty. So if you've been praying for something better, something more aligned, something that feels like growth, this is your reminder that the answer may not look like what you expected. And if this current offer feels off, it may be because something better is trying to come in, but it requires you to trust enough to say no. And that brings us directly into say no. This is not subtle. This is not vague. This is very clear guidance. It literally says it is essential to your well-being to be completely comfortable saying no and not justifying or explaining why. So for many of you, this is your confirmation. You already feel it. Your body knows. Your spirit knows. You don't need more proof. You don't need more validation. You are allowed to say no simply because it is not aligned. Now, paired with that is dare to be vulnerable, and this is where the deeper layer comes in. Because saying no, especially in career, stability, or financial situations, requires vulnerability. It requires trusting God more than you trust the illusion of security. It requires being honest with yourself about what you truly want, even if it doesn't make logical sense to others. This is about showing up as your real self, not the version of you that settles or conforms out of fear. The third card, let life surprise you. This energy feels softer, almost like an exhale. It speaks about releasing control, letting go of rigid expectations, and allowing life to unfold in ways that you may not have planned or predicted. There's something here about the need to know, the need to have certainty before you move forward. And this card gently loosens that. Because the Spirit doesn't always reveal the full path at once. Sometimes it reveals the next step and asks you to trust enough to take it. And underneath that, we have happiness. This is where the message becomes very present-focused. It speaks about choosing joy intentionally, about reconnecting with what actually brings you peace, not just what feels productive or necessary. It asks you to look at your life as it is right now and find something within it that feels light, something that reminds you that you are not stuck, that you are not behind, that you are still allowed to experience moments of ease. So together, these two messages feel very grounding. You don't need to have everything figured out to feel okay. You don't need to control the outcome to access peace. There is something available to you now, something simple, something real. And when you allow yourself to receive that, it creates space, And in that space, life begins to move in ways you didn't expect. The fourth card, say no. This one comes in very clearly, very simply. It speaks about boundaries, but not in a forceful way, in a knowing way. It says that it is essential to your well-being to be comfortable saying no, without needing to justify, explain, or overthink it. There's something here about trusting your internal response before your external reasoning. And underneath that, we have career change. This is where the message becomes very specific for some of you. There is a shift, or at least the awareness of a shift, in your path, particularly in what you're doing, building, or giving your energy to. And when these two come together, the clarity here feels very intentional from spirit. There may be something being offered, considered, or currently in your environment, and your spirit is not fully aligned with it. And instead of pushing through, instead of convincing yourself, instead of trying to make it make sense, you are being guided to trust that initial knowing. This is where the Holy Spirit becomes very specific, not loud, not forceful, but clear. Not everything that is available is meant for you. And sometimes the most aligned decision is the quiet one, the simple one, the one that doesn't require explanation. And finally, dare to be vulnerable. This message brings everything inward again. It speaks about honesty, about allowing yourself to be seen as you are, not as you think you need to be. There's something here about dropping the pressure to have everything together, and instead allowing yourself to exist in truth. And again, underneath that, embrace your duality. This reinforces something very important. You are not meant to present a perfect version of yourself in order to move forward. You are allowed to be in process. You are allowed to feel both strong and uncertain, both clear and still figuring things out. And there is something deeply aligning about allowing that to be seen, first by yourself. So together, this final message becomes, your authenticity is not something you arrive at, it's something you allow. And when you stop trying to filter or correct yourself into something more acceptable, you begin to feel more grounded, more stable, more at peace. When we step back and take in the full message, this is about awareness, not urgency. You are being guided to sit with what is, to notice what you feel, to trust what arises, and to move from a place of honesty instead of pressure. There is no need to rush this. There is no need to force clarity. The more present you become with yourself, the clearer everything begins to feel. And if this message resonated with you, or felt like it met you in a very specific place, go ahead and like this video so it can reach someone else who may need this same reflection. And if you feel called to stay in this space, subscribe for more messages like this, because if this found you, there's a reason for that.